And, just staying on top of the news of what governance and compliance is happening out there is key. Some of you may or may not know, my husband, partner Alan Smithson, he does a daily tech news show. And these links I actually got from his show the other day. So if anybody's interested in a everyday what happened in AI news for about 10-15 minutes, he's been doing it for a couple of months, and that's where I'm getting my feed of news, and I bring that into our community. And these were some of the things that I picked up the other day that I thought our community needs to know about this. And obviously the planets is a little fun one, but still cool nonetheless. So that's all for today. Thanks, Karen. Back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Julie. And, we have this really wonderful article written by Bobby Carlton that was featured in XR Update. The title is XR Women Sets the Stage for Empowering the Future of XR Technology. Yes, that's right. That's what we're doing here. So we really appreciate Bobby's allyship in writing this article. And again, we'll share a link to this so you can read it. It's really nicely done and wonderful for us to have that exposure. Okay, so yesterday we did the first of these activations for Haiti with our use it for it's a place where people can organize opportunities to get together and go play golf in VR, or table tennis, or to work out together, or to try out a new game. So this is a great way to connect with community members outside of our meetings by using this channel and propose, hey, I want to go play a round of golf. Anybody want to join me? So please make use of that channel. You can find more information there about this Hope for Haiti activation. But Sarah Porter will be on Google Meet. The details are there. It's also in the main channel, but we're trying to boost this activities and games channel. And she will walk us through 3 winners of a contest that Eighth Wall had to create experiences that would serve Hope for Haiti and talk about their very important work in the country. Their AR experiences, they're really cool. I had a lot of fun trying them out yesterday and talking to the others. So join us. The time here, it says 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. That is Eastern US time. So that would be 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific. That would be 8:30 to 9:30 UK time. So, and note that any donations made through these apps and this time are going to be matched by Niantic. Niantic is really supporting Hope for Haiti here. And even if you give, $5, it can help out this very good cause. And also it's just a chance to hang out with some of us and chat and do something fun. So hope to see you tomorrow. If you're not already subscribing to our YouTube channel, do so. That way you can check out an event you missed, or let's say you had to leave early and you wanted to see the rest of it. You can go back and look up this event and play it. Now, we don't necessarily have every single event up there, but we're doing a much better job of recording these and getting them posted. So moving forward, there's going to be more and more opportunity for that. Did somebody start to say something? No? Okay. All right. Okay. And then next week, we are going to meet in a rival space. We have our own XR Women's space there. And we're going to start in our XR Women's space, and then we're going to hear from Lisa Maria Egger, who is co-founder and chief operating officer of Arrival Space. She's going to talk about from 2D to 3D, the immersive web as a starting point. If you haven't tried this platform yet, you're in for a treat. I really love it. And it's web-based, and there's so many capabilities, ways to connect to other spaces, other web-based places like Frame, for example. You could walk into one of the gates in the space right into Frame. Many more. We're also going to be releasing a case study we did on some work with an intern we had this spring. So that should be really interesting. And Lisa's doing phenomenal work. So please join us to hear from her, learn about Arrival Space. And then the following week, we are going to have the opportunity for you to meet members of our leadership team, including our new member, Tracy York. Some of you heard from Paige Danziger at our award ceremony at AWE. This will be a chance to hear from Tracy. And we're also inviting our award winners and our advisory board members so that you all can learn a little bit more about who these people are behind XR Women and what we do when we're not doing XR Women. Following that, we have Caitlin O'Connor talking about XR legal and regulatory pathways. That should be super interesting. I'm excited about it. And now we come to today, to Marti Konstant. Marti, we are super thrilled to have you here. I am going to stop sharing and let you come onto stage. And I believe that Julie is going to introduce you.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you, Karen. And while Marti is setting up, I'll do an introduction for our guest speaker today. Marti Konstant is a workplace futurist, inventor of the category Career Agility, and the best-selling author of Activate Your Agile Career. She has an MBA from the University of Chicago, Booth School of Business, and is a former technology executive that has worked in Silicon Valley. As a top 50 future of work influencer, she has been featured in media outlets such as NBC Chicago, Forbes, and the Muse, and has worked in companies like Samsung, Dow Jones, and Apple. With her current work at Next CoLabs, an AI strategy organization, Marti is an expert at AI learning and development strategies for the future of work. She is a keynote speaker, trainer, and workshop designer, enabling people and organizations to become AI empowered. And I think this is perfect timing for Marti to come and speak to our community today. Through several conversations over the last weeks and months, the need for upskilling, the need for understanding how AI will be integrated into everything that we're doing. I am super honored to pass over the stage to Marti. Thank you, Marti, for being here today, and welcome to XR Women.
Awesome. Fantastic. Marti, just a reminder, please turn on your megaphone so everyone can hear you clearly throughout the space.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So you'll notice that I don't spend as much time in XR as most of you. I was fortunate to meet Caitlin Krause probably 4 years ago and purchased my very first headset and got somewhat familiar, but have been a little out of practice. So Julie and I did a little practice session a couple weeks ago. And I got to be very honest with you. I had two things that I worried about when I was coming today, and that was, what will I wear? And then the other thing was, am I going to fall into the water? Am I going to be able to navigate in this environment in a way that makes sense to all of you? Yes, I talk about AI. I used to be a chief marketer. I know a lot about marketing, but you all know a lot more about XR than I do. So we're here to learn, and just super excited about this. So today's presentation starts with a little bit of a story. A couple weeks ago, I was at a networking event, and a woman, I will call her Melanie, that's not her real name, she came up to me and said, Marti, I have to tell you, I hate AI. It's terrible. Because she knew what I did for a living. And she says, it took over my book reviews online, and it's taken over jobs, and it writes terrible copy. And I stopped and said, well, oh, then you must have a lot of experience with AI. And she said, well, no, I don't really have experience with AI. I said, oh, but have you used it? And she said, no, not really. And I said, do you own a business? And she said, yes. Many of the women I know have entrepreneurial organizations, or they're a part of an entrepreneurial organization. And I said, well, have you thought about using it for marketing? And I gave her 3 examples about summarizing content, about repurposing it, about marketing, about creating marketing planning, and went through a list that was long enough, but just enough to give her information. And she paused and she said, when you talk to people, you need to lead with that. And she gave me this idea that it's all about practical AI. We can talk about AI in its abstraction. We could talk about all the things that it does in a predictive manner, but what does it do for me? What can I do, and what can I use it for my business? So I'm going to, it's a ode to Melanie here. I'm going to share a screen here, and I'm not going to do it full screen. There's no need to do it. I'm just going to play this. Imagine 2007, the iPhone just launched. I was working at a software company that focused on mobile security. People didn't even know what mobile security was back then. So Steve Ballmer, what was your first reaction when you saw the iPhone? Now know that when you see this, it's an old YouTube video. It's very blurry. It's compliments of Roy Vela. He picked it up last year, which I thought was fun.
I'm not seeing and hearing anything. Is anyone else?
Yeah, no, I think did we lose you, Marty?
Okay.
The same thing.
So, I might be having problems. So it's not important. What Steve Ballmer said in 2007 is, what? You got to be kidding. $500 for an iPhone? That's ridiculous. We can sell phones for $100, and ours have keyboards on them. So he was, it was one of his moments when he was not as successful in his, in his business acumen, let's say. So it's not important that you saw that. I'm hoping that this doesn't, I'm hoping that this will enable me to also share other links as we go through. So let's get back to Julie Smithson. So I know Julie Smithson through Alan Smithson, through Next CoLabs, and through Caitlin Krauss. And she came to me and she said, I listened to your podcast with Michael Morrissey, and it was on this topic. It was, on the augmented workplace and AI agility. I'd love to have you present on this topic. And I thought, well, why not use AI to produce this particular event? And I'm going to hope that this works. I think I'm going to open up a new window and maybe reshare, because it doesn't quite work like Zoom. So let's see. I am going to open up a new window, and I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to show you what I did to summarize the presentation that Julie was interested in. And it's a marketing technique. The idea is to summarize a 1-hour podcast and repurpose the content for marketing, was the idea. In this case, make a presentation. So I'm going to open up a new screen. And I believe I'm going to have to stop sharing what I currently have. Just going to look at it just so I can see it. So stop sharing what I currently have and pull up not what I want. Those who figure out how. Hopefully you can see this screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. Looks like I'm gonna have to toggle between screens. So for people that do podcasts, you probably know this. I didn't know this, but I listen to a lot of my podcasts on Apple and all the other platforms. And I thought, well, if I want to summarize this, they don't give me a transcript, but YouTube does. If you scroll down to most of them, it offers the transcript right here. And the transcript, you can basically copy and then paste it and summarize it in ChatGPT. And I'm going to see if I can go right to this other link to show you what I did, because Julie said, we really liked that presentation and I didn't want to miss anything and I didn't want to look at it over and over again. Again, this is a marketing application. Wasn't the one I wanted. Okay, here it is. Okay. Use a Canva. I'm just going to go right to OpenAI. And I'm looking at the screen. I know I'm turning my back to you, but I just want to make sure that you can see everything I'm saying. So in this particular case, we are in ChatGPT, and I took the complete. First of all, I wanted to see if ChatGPT 4.0 could handle video. It couldn't do that. It couldn't analyze it. So I went and copied and pasted, and I said, could you please give me the themes, the top themes of this particular presentation? This is a useful application of AI, of summarizing the whole universe. So here's an analysis of the outline of the top themes. So it gave me something that I could create a presentation around. So it gave me the top themes. And then without me even asking, it gave me the description of each theme so that I could build a presentation. Now, and that's pretty much what I did. And I have presentations I'm going to show you, but that's pretty much what I did to make sure that I covered everything that Julie had inquired about. However, before I go to the presentation, I'd like to share with you what else you can do. Most organizations, whether you're in a big organization or working for yourself, there's lots of ways that you want to repurpose your marketing content. So we have the summary of this podcast. What else can we do with this? And so one of the things, I got the top themes. I went into figuring out, I got very curious. So I wanted to figure out, well, what other items, in addition to analyzing the content that I just uploaded, I want to pull the universe and see what else I should know about impact of AI jobs in the workplace, just in time so that I'm current. So I pulled that out and then pulled out things like, how does career agility relate to the current state of AI? It wasn't things that was covered in the episode, but these are things that we talked about that would relate to the rest of the world. And then I thought, well, what about if I wanted to pull a couple video clips? And I said, well, could you please tell me where the timestamps that cover shadow AI, which is a topic, shadow AI users, are users that actually use AI on banned products within their workplace, but they're doing it to get their jobs done. And they're not necessarily telling their bosses about it because it's a competitive world. So they're referred to as shadow AI users. So I wanted to know a little bit more about that. That's the timestamp of that one. So I could go in and I could extract a video from that if I wanted to do it. What if I wanted to do the evolution story? I could get another timestamp. And then as a marketer, I thought, what else could we use this for? We could use it for writing articles. We could use it for writing scripts. I thought, well, let's just come up with 2 LinkedIn posts. And I always recommend that if you use it in this way, you put some you into it. Ethan Malik calls this, he refers to this as keeping the human in the loop. I refer to it as AI plus you. So here's 2 LinkedIn posts that were created. And then you could also pull up images if you wanted to. I'm more of a fan of Midjourney because it's more photorealistic, but these are some images that you could pull up. I think that ChatGPT is very good at infographics as long as you can import it into something like Canva, correct all of the spelling errors, etc. So that is an entire workflow. And then I thought, well, what about if I want some icons for this that I didn't find anywhere else? You could create some icons for yourself. So again, you can get some funky illustrations or diagrams here. So it has a funny way. It doesn't. What I find, unless I say, give me a diverse audience, give me Hispanic or Latina or Black, unless I do that and don't say blue suits, ChatGPT will be somewhat biased in the people that they put in the workplace. So now I'm going to go back to stop sharing that. And I'm going to share.
Marty, I'll just mention that you should be able to minimize the window that you're sharing and then see this space alongside it.
Yes, and I know that to be true, and I was having some struggles with it. So I thought, yes, thank you for that. So I'm back to today's presentation, and let me see. So Melanie, the person with not her real name that came up to me and said, you need to lead with what do people use it for? And that's what really influenced the name of today's presentation, that AI for what? Practical AI for business leaders. Question here is, do you speak AI? Whether or not you do a lot with AI, in your world, it might, do you speak XR? It's important that there's a fluency when you're talking to people so that people can get comfortable with it. All of the image generations that you see here are mostly done in Midjourney. So what is AI agility? I created a definition for career agility in 2012, and it still ranks either number 1 or number 2 on Google. But in 2023, I thought, well, let's apply this to AI and agility. It's the agile mindset. It's being open. It's being curious. A curious mindset guided by response to change, technology adoption, and using AI as your thought partner, multiplying your time and impact responsibly and ethically. Speak AI for your business relevance. I mentioned the book by Ethan Malik, a Wharton professor. If you're not following him on LinkedIn, you could probably learn in about 1 week of tracking him just about everything you need to know about AI, and then you'll get more curious. But he says in his book, Co-Intelligence, always invite AI to the table. It's not necessarily that AI is just going to come in and do your job. It's just always going to do it with you. Be the human in the loop, put your stamp on it, treat AI like a person, but tell it what kind of person it is. So if you want something from one of the learning language models, you might say something like, act as a branding consultant and analyze the data from my LinkedIn profile and my resume and give me some really strong positioning statements. It's going to give you a different answer than if you said act like an engineer or act like someone else. And the other one is assume that this is the worst AI you will ever use. It's only going to get better. We started working in the Next CoLabs community. I think it was November 30th, 2022. We had been working in VR almost every week. And we were stunned with what was happening in AI, and we got so fascinated by it that we started tracking it and probably spending 8 to 10 hours a week on consuming everything there is to do in AI. AI rising with the knowledge workers. Shadow AI users at work, I described who they are. 78% of people, according to the Future of Work report at Microsoft. It's a competitive advantage. CEOs believe, 84% believe. 57% of people believe that they are missing training in AI. They want more. There's lots of data and stats on increased productivity, at a minimum 25%. GenAI users that currently use it save 5 or more hours a week, and executives believe they will go out of business in 5 years if they don't do this, which is to say AI fluency matters. Time to reach 1 million users. It's going really fast, fast growth rate, time to reach 1 million users. It's a couple months versus 3.5 years on some of these other exponential technologies, and it's only going to continue going faster. We talked about the thought partner. If you use AI, it's sometimes referred to as you are an augmented workforce, you're an augmented worker. I kind of find that just an uncomfortable word. I like to say AI enhanced worker, makes me better and smarter and faster. And I think thought partner is a really great way to think about it. Some of the examples might be, if you're a product designer, you can bring AI to the table and you can work with Perplexity and bring in ideas. That way you can compare patterns between 3 disparate industries and bring it all together in an analysis within a couple minutes or 10 minutes on AI. 67,000 AI companies. Can you believe that? A year ago, when I started putting this number up there, it was 62,000 companies. And I've tried to get a track record because AI has been around for 20 years. Of course, you know, this is going to be a game of musical chairs. There's not going to be many left standing that are really going to be able to provide significant capabilities to all of us. But this is just astounding when you compare it to something like the internet, the growth of the internet. Now, I admit Kathy Woods is a very bullish analyst from ARK Investments on where AI is headed. She contends that by 2030, it's going to be 80 trillion in value. She includes applications, foundational AI models, AI hardware in that figure. But if you look at the internet between 1997 and 2021, so what is that, 24 years? That value, 13 trillion. We're looking at 80 trillion. If you look at Gartner, they might say 40 trillion. Someone else might say 30 trillion. But the trend is there. And then how does it work? It works with algorithms and data and models. The algorithms, it's a predictive model. So we hear about ChatGPT having hallucinations. You won't get as much of that with something like Perplexity because it relies on real data. On the algorithms for ChatGPT, it is predictive of the next word, the next paragraph. So it's an awesome creative partner. It's not always going to be right, but it's going to be right a lot of the time. It also relies on a lot of data. For anyone here that knows or is concerned about privacy, you can go into ChatGPT and it's a setting. You can say, don't train on my data. I don't want you to train on my data. The corporations have it figured out, like Microsoft. They protect the data with the systems that they allow their employees to use. On Claude, which is from Anthropic, some ex-AI people from OpenAI, they started Claude, and their default is to protect your data, and they will not use your data unless you allow them to. ChatGPT, it's the other way around. Lots of models, lots of fun, and ChatGPT is probably the most broadly known model. This is how it works. You put in your inquiry there. It's based on its own training. So you're going to get some training that's different on Claude. So we often keep, those of us who use AI all the time, we often keep a couple LLMs open, and we keep Google open just to see what's right, what's more interesting, what can make us smarter. And it is based on a prediction model, and you definitely have hallucination involved. There's 3 approaches to AI. The content is actually through parts of 2023. It really augments search. You can ask questions of it, just like I showed on the previous screen. You can organize content from others. You could put in, I think Gemini, you can load up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. I forget the amount of tokens, but that's from Google. And you can put in all that content and ask for a summary, patterns, themes, correlate it with your current strategy of your current organization, and ask the LLM, what am I missing? What don't I know? It's amazing that they can actually figure out what you don't know. What are some assumptions that most people make that we're missing? And then you can query your own personal content. For today's discussion, let's just keep it simple. For research, creation, design, writing drafts, edits, course design, and maybe marketing, and about 1,000 other things. It writes computer programs, it does videos, all kinds of things, depending on the model that you're using. I like the style. When people ask me, Marty, how do I get started? I say, well, how do you think and how do you work is my next question. If they're more analytical, say they're an engineer and they're used to writing structured scripts for programs that they develop, they might do better with something called a structured prompt. They can give it all that, they can have a page of instructions, and then they can get the results they want. I like this idea of a series of questions because I'm an incremental learner. This was a course I created in a couple hours, a series of questions. What is customer experience? I was presenting to a group of banking executives. Why is the idea of customer experience important to banking industry? How is it measured? How should I approach the training design of these materials and then create the course? So it's research, strategy, create. This is the workflow. And these are my starter tools: Perplexity, ChatGPT, Canva. If you weren't going to do anything and you only had one tool that you could do in, I'd say free Perplexity all day long gets you a lot. ChatGPT, I would probably encourage you to invest in the $20 a month. And I would also encourage you to do the same thing on Canva. So before I go on to the next piece of this, I'm going to stop sharing here. So I want to be present, and I'm going to turn myself around and see if there's any questions before maybe we could even do some real-time lab like Marty. What about, show us something in Perplexity or show us another workflow. Any questions that people might have?
Yeah, I really like that workflow. That's great. Oh, someone has a question. Let's see, who is it? It looks like it's Julie.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry. I hit that by accident. Sorry.
Okay.
I do not
have all right, but
right now.
Sorry. Does have a question. That Somebody is Mary Ann.
Mary Ann does.
Question. Yeah.
Okay, Mary Ann.
Oh, hi. I really liked that last slide, and I would love to see more of that. But you offered to show us something in Perplexity. So, and remind me again what you feel like Perplexity is most valuable at. It was answering questions.
Yes. So let's bring it up. The best way, what we found at Next CoLabs is the best way to figure it out is to do a 15-minute lab. And I'm sure you do this all the time in XR. When Caitlin was first training us in VR, we just, jumped into the system. So what I'm going to do right now is I will bring up Perplexity. I hope you're giving me grace that I'm not as fluid in this environment as you are, and forgive me for turning my back when I do. Okay, so I'm going to go into Perplexity here, and I can see that you can see Perplexity, so I'm going to focus my attention on you. And so I have a history. This is the free version, and I didn't really realize this until about a month ago. It keeps your entire library. I thought because I wasn't paid that I wouldn't get it. So these are some ideas that I came up with recently. I said, I was talking about Steve Ballmer, and I wanted to be, I wanted to bring up the latest. Please give me the key highlights of Steve Ballmer's career at Microsoft. It gave me this, and I call this the answer engine. So instead of giving me 10,000 results, it gives me one result. It summarizes it, and each of these small gray numbers actually goes to real data. This is not making it up. So while we call Perplexity a learning language model, it's really more of the founders call it an answer engine. It's amazing. And I've done this with job seekers, and they'll even find places that are looking for the type of work that they're offering. So this talks about Steve Ballmer. This was just added, I want to say a week or two ago. They're starting to add pictures on the side and other ways that you can access information. So then I wanted to know how much revenue was associated with him, etc. So that is, and then what strategies did he use? What is fun about Perplexity is they have these things called related questions. So you can click on any of these related questions on core products. So it thinks, I feel like Perplexity thinks like I think. I'm a random access learner. I think that's what the internet helped us figure out about ourselves. Notice here it has image generation. If you wanted to experience that, that's a pro version, and then search of images. Can you give, in Ethan Malick's words, his 4 rules that start with treat AI like a person? So these are just ways that I have Perplexity open. This is something. Can you create a list of competitors in the physical security space for medium to large businesses in the US? Here's an example of our type of company. We're a home security company that protects businesses and homes with physical security. We do this through, and I just, something I made up. It was some work that I had done as a consultant a few years ago, because I used to do a lot of stuff in security. And it gave me the big ones, right? Johnson Controls, Cisco, et cetera. So it gave me all of those. It gave me links to those and then to the competitors. And then I asked, how are companies like Honeywell and ADT integrating AI into their physical security solutions? And so I'm educating myself, because the research I did on this market is probably 5 to 6 years old. I wanted to be brought up to speed, and I wanted to be brought up to speed really quick. Guided work solutions, predictive maintenance, comprehensive security integration. And then they decided to break it out for me. And then they have related questions. And then if you have, does anyone in the group, you could use the chat if you want, does anybody in the group have a question that they would like, or an industry or an idea that they would like to review in Perplexity? You can put it in there, and I will just look through the library one more time.
Oh, yeah. I see that Sarah Barker has a question. I don't know if that's in response to what you just said, but she's asking for embodied cognition in VR.
Okay, so I'm going to start typing. Can please summarize knowledge of embodied I know I'm in good company here when we can go through a statement like this and it all makes sense. Please summarize knowledge of embodied cognition in VR. Is there anything else you want to add to that? Let's just start with that. We could start with that. I put that in the library. Sorry, put that in the wrong thing. discover. So this is what it offers. It's got a couple articles. It's got a PDF from eScholarship. And these are things that I don't think that I would have ended up researching on something like this. And then it has 2 more. So it has 2 more. It has 5 sources. So it's not going to give you 105 sources.
And Marty, if you wanted to, I think you could toggle on the Pro and get an even more complex answer. Even for the free version, you have Pro at least, I think, 5 times in something like 4 hours.
Yeah, 5 searches left today for Pro if I wanted to do that. So let's answer the same question to see.
It might just give the same answer. I'm interested in this topic too, so thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and thank you, Marty. This is great.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things. It actually comes up with questions. Now, this is some things that I didn't see before. Very often, depending on how much information, you'll start to see a lot of images here as well. So it gives you a chance. So I like the related questions. So how does embodied cognition influence VR experiences? And so it's thinking that might be a better question for ChatGPT, because again, this is an answer engine. It's going out there and it's grabbing the information off the internet, giving you real stuff. It's really great for research. If you wanted to explore and be more creative, you might want to use ChatGPT for that.
Marty, could I ask a follow-up question real quick while you have all this up? By the way, thanks again. This is just awesome. I can't wait to play with it. So
see all the pictures on the right?
I'm sorry.
See all the pictures it's starting to load up on the right?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. When you get into like the weeds here and you have those little numbers that are after the information, would you mind linking on that? I'm just curious to see if that takes you to the research itself. Like if you you know where it has like 1, like it says sense of embodiment in virtual reality, and then there's like a little 1 in a gray box.
So that's
now, what it's doing. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So it does. You click on this, and it takes you right to a website. This takes you right to a PDF.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's a fun. If you're a book writer, it's really fun. And a lot of times people say, "Oh, it's an LLM," and I said, "Well, no, it's not quite the same thing." It will summarize. Perplexity was in the news a few weeks ago, and they said, "Oh, you know, they're stealing data. They're stealing publicly available data," and they got in trouble for it. And this is just what's going to happen when there's new tools. People are going to get in trouble, and there's going to be lawsuits and things like that. And you know, we talk about AI ethics and compliance all the time, and even how it relates to politics. But the thing is, we need to understand it before we can start figuring out how we can control it and organize it. And that's really the process that we're in right now. So are you interested in, I'm mindful of time. So we can ask questions, or I can show you another use case. I can show you how to create an instruction guide. If you teach at all and you want to hand out an instruction guide and it's something that takes you a long time, I have a workflow that goes from ChatGPT to Canva, and it takes about 5 minutes to demonstrate. Is anyone interested in that?
Oh yeah, that sounds terrific. Yes, we are close to the end of our time, but as long as you can stay, Marty, and if others can, I personally would like to see that.
All right, so I did this at Next CoLabs just the other night to a group of people, and I went to ChatGPT And I said to ChatGPT, I'm going to and please tell me if you can still see it, because I'm not looking at the screen right now.
Yeah, we're good.
Yes, you can see
Yeah.
ChatGPT in there.
Okay, so you may have a course, you may be doing research, you may want to provide a guide, you may want it may be the size of 8.5 by 11, 4 by 6. It could be a variety of things. And I just wanted to do a quick demonstration. This takes 5 minutes. What are the steps involved in creating a job aid that features 20 steps or more? That's what they call them in learning and development, job aids. And I thought, what a horrible name, a job aid. So I actually got better names further down. But I came to here and said, please do 20 steps or more, because I wanted to create a guide. Now you could do it from your own information. I just asked ChatGPT. So they pulled it, and I checked this against the ATD, the Training and Development Organization. It actually tracked pretty well to find the purpose. So it had a title and it had a brief description. And I purposely asked a simple question because I didn't want to get an encyclopedia of an answer. I just wanted 21 steps. And then I said, what are other phrases for job aids used in learning and development? I got some really great ones. Learning tools, reference guides, quick reference cards, job support tools. I thought, okay, if we're going to be marketing this or packaging this, tip sheets, field guides, maybe it's for social media. These terms, they say, they're used interchangeably. So then I took the content that I just showed you, 1 through 21, and I said, please create a CSV file. I could have asked for Excel with 3 headings because I wanted to keep the demonstration simple. I wanted a number in it, I wanted a title, and an instruction. That would be the guts of the book. This could be 100. I did one last week that was 50 pages. And it was amazing on a particular topic. So then I went back in then to Canva, where I have just a single page template. I called it my instruction guide template. So I took it, I downloaded it, I went to my downloads, and it created a super slick, cute little spreadsheet. And so I went to, this was my template. You don't have to pay attention to what these are just generic words. I wanted a number, title, and I wanted this. And I wanted it to be a cute little 5 by 5 square book. Again, this could be any size. It could be any amount of content that you desire, that you already own. So I went back to, I think in the, Caitlin put in there, it's the best investment you'll ever make, $15 a month. I think it's $120 a year for Canva. It's used for some amazing things. I went to, Elements, branch, uploads, applications. There's this thing called applications. And I read about this from a conference, and then I taught myself on YouTube videos how to do this. Went to this thing called bulk create. In the old days, we used to call this kind of stuff mail merge. And I wanted to upload the data, which is instruction guide, which I pre-made. And the normal process is you have to click on these one at a time and connect the data. But because I've done this a couple times, it kind of knows that I'm doing this. So it sets it up for me. So here it is again. The spreadsheet had a number, a title, and a step instruction. And then I continued. Again, you can get hundreds and hundreds of templates that are available to you. You customize them any which way that you want off of Canva. I never use anything right out of the box on Canva, but some people might. So when I say continue, you'll see here on the left-hand side, define all this stuff, generate 21 designs, and you have, voila, your 21 designs here. Yet it's a tool, so you want it to have an intro and an outro. So you create a custom cover, and it's kind of boring because it doesn't have any illustrations in it or anything like that. You may have pre-populated illustrations, or you may just want something that's fun.
Marty, could you share some of those 21 designs? Because the screen hasn't changed since you said that, just to show.
So I'm going to turn my, I'm going to turn myself around so I can see what we're all seeing. I'm going to turn my back to the audience. Okay. It opened up another tab, but it didn't do it. So let me go to, yeah, when it opens up a new tab, it tends to, thank you for that. Okay, when I clicked on generate 21 designs, what it did, so you can see it's got 21 designs, but it's not very interesting. It's instructions, but maybe you need an instruction guide. Again, it could be a bigger thing. I'm going to put in another. Thank you for your grace on my use of today's system. I'm not as used to this system as I am to how Zoom does it. So we wanted an intro and an outro. And of course, any good marketer will tell you you've got to have a call to action on your stuff. And created something that looks like this. You'll notice there's a bunch of illustrations in here and a well-designed instruction guide. This is about how to develop an instruction guide, but it could be any topic. And I thought, well, Canva is excellent for so many things. You think, oh my gosh, I have to create all this art. You don't. You can click on something called elements here in the sidebar. I like etchings. So I looked up etchings and I looked at each page and I thought, well, each page has a little bit of a theme. I put North Star and I saw all these North Stars. I thought, okay, this is fun. Etching. Identify the target audience. Break down the task. So it's quite literal. If you had exact diagrams, say you wanted to do something like diagram model. There's I've lost counts of how many diagram models there are in here that you can use and customize to yourself and build any presentation. I've gone to so many different presentation tools, including Adobe, and Canva still comes out on top. So this is what this ended up looking like. So there's I guess it ended up being like a 7-minute demonstration here because I had a couple blips, but this is what you can do. This is a combination of automation. And you'll also notice when you, probably sounds like a commercial for Canva, but you can go to elements and you can do something like video of a wave. And under photos, and there's videos. Oh, I'm sorry, videos in here. So say you wanted to put this in the background of your slide. Now I know this is sort of small and you can't really see it on the screen, but there's just so many things. Or you could do text to video here. People say, oh, Canva doesn't have great AI tools. They actually have really great AI tools. And the other thing they have is they have one of the world's best databases on, if I wanted to look up the topic of AI. So it just happens to be a topic. and say you wanted to be photos or graphics. So these are, a lot of these are AI generated graphics. So you don't necessarily have to go into the image generators yourself. There are thousands of, I like this guy here. I think he's kind of fun, but there's so many things you can do to customize your presentation, and it's not going to look like everybody else's. But look at these photos. Just they go on and on and on. And so people have gone into AI on Midjourney and DALL-E and all the other image generators. They've created this beautiful stuff. Or maybe you just want something like background, geometry. You know, we see a lot of things, lines and squares. You know, there's all these different ways that you can add interest. And it used to be when we were using clip art or something like that, it was so obvious that that's what we were doing. Now you can make it so custom. So that is another, are there any other questions or tools that you'd like to see?
This has been amazing. I think we could be here all day. Keep going, Marti.
There is something that will blow your mind. Somebody from our team. Say you have a new product idea or a new service idea. Can you see this?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
But we do have just a quick question, maybe just answering Joanne. Joanne asked how the text from Perplexity got into Canva, but did you do a copy paste in the back end? Like from one system to the other? You uploaded it?
I did it not from Perplexity. I did it from ChatGPT. I downloaded it as a CSV file. And all of that content was just automatically populated in seconds in the CSV file. Now, if the content isn't perfect for you, you can go into the CSV file and edit it there, change your headings, change your content, make it longer, however you want. And that is your master copy of your content.
That's great, thank you. I think just the simple power of AI, just people's heads wrapping their heads around it. You know, I've used it in the last couple of weeks just on things that I'm working on, and you can literally take a PDF and add it to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to make a summary of that PDF, and you know, it's like magic, right? It's magical.
It's like, this is if any of you, you know, went to business school or work in strategy, it's like you want to figure out what your, let me see if I'm able to log in here. Okay, I put this in just the other day. It asks you, what's your startup idea? Or it could be a product idea. And I said, this was where I started doing the research on physical security. And we did that example in Perplexity. So you're familiar with that. And then I clicked on Unleash Your Startup Idea right there. And within about a minute, it said that you'd have it puts together a lean canvas for you, puts together your persona overview. Now, these are assumptions, but it's a place to start. This is like pure, these things like used to just take hours to get here, right? So we're going to go back to business alternative, customer interview. What are the questions that you want to ask in your interview questions, right? You can use that. Business prototype, your problem, your solution, your existing alternatives. Remember, I was in Perplexity and it told me who those competitors were. It gave me these ideas because I didn't understand what physical security solutions looked like right now. right? So it goes into segments, and it goes into problem solution. And then it even goes into revenue streams. And like, how do you want to validate this? And then these aren't very good, but it puts together a landing page. They're not great, but it's something to start with. And I don't think you saw that, but because every time I go into another thing off of, I have to do the landing page. I'll show you what the landing page looks like in a second. So that was the landing page. And so it goes on. And then it even has suggestions for product naming or company naming ideas. So it's, it might be, I don't know, 30% of what you need to kickstart your brainstorming process. But it's enough to get going. And I have to put a tip of the hand to Brad Rochefort. He is on our team, and he studies tools every single day, hundreds of tools. And this is a tool, he introduced this to us when it was in beta. I'm not too certain if it's still in beta. So there you have it.
So Marti, just to, there's a bit of chat going on the side, and I tried to summarize. So we're just summarizing the tools that you used today. Was ChatGPT, you used Canva, you used Perplexity, and you used alternative AI, correct? Those were the 4 that you showed us today.
I used Go Zigzag.
Go Zigzag? Okay, all right.
Perplexity, Canva, and ChatGPT.
Okay, so the Go Zigzag was the one that I was missing. Okay, hold on. I'll get that for everybody here. Hold on. Great.
You can, I've got a guide for today, and I don't know, I think I can attach it. No.
If not, I can add it to the Slack channel where we have some follow-up resources there too.
Yeah, I have an 8-page guide just specifically for today's exercises on the workflows. And it won't be perfect because it thinks like I think, maybe not thinks like you think. So you can customize it to your heart's content there.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So appreciate all of you. Appreciate your questions, and would love some feedback about how I did navigating in the XR environment here.
No, it was great. Thank you so much. I think, for all of us, we can see your screen, we could see you working. We don't tend to focus on too much on our avatars while we're listening to you. And that's why I love listening and love being in these spaces, because the audio is so important for us to understand. We prioritize audio above what we can see of each other in our avatars and looking at these resources. And I think you've provided us with lots to think about and lots of tools to set ourselves up with. And I guess just closing off, is there anybody else that has any other questions? Yeah, rewatch the recording of this one for sure.
Okay. Well, thanks for the invitation. And I just want a special shout out to a few people that reached out to me this week. Grace Esposito, Julie, of course, Juliana Lowe, Paula Weigel, Caitlin Krause, Alan Smithson, Karen Alexander, and Fatima. So thank you to you. Everyone's been so generous on the LinkedIn posts and commenting, and it was so exciting to have so many different comments. I felt like I knew some of you before coming into it.
That's awesome.
That's really great. Yeah. And this was really, really helpful to see this workflow. I think this is the way we should be using AI. I see some people trying to ask it factual questions rather than sort of using it to boost our productivity and to help us set things up. And I think what you've shown is really the way we should be using it.
Well, I mean, it's to your point, I think it's hard to learn if you don't see. It's like AI for what? Like, we don't want to just use AI for AI's sake. We want to use it for something important. Why should CEOs want to integrate it into their organization if it's not practical for people?
Right. Exactly. Okay, so the recording for today is we're going to be processing that, and we'll get that uploaded to the YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then we'll do that. In the Slack channel from today, I've downloaded all the resources and all of these programs that we've been talking about there. And then once Marty sends the 8-page resource document, we'll upload that to that channel so everybody can have a copy of it. And on behalf of myself, Marty, thank you so much. And
Of course.
Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with us today. It was
Of course.
amazing.
Encourage everyone to connect on LinkedIn. That's a super great platform. Lots of great conversations going on there. I mean, my goodness, Julie, you've had so much stuff going on this week. Between you and Alan, you're keeping my feed busy.
Good. I'm glad. But, I'm glad XR Women is definitely being highlighted here. And it's interesting with our ecosystem, our XR Women ecosystem and community. We're very, immersive. But yourself and Next CoLabs and that group, very AI focused. And, to think about the collaborations that can take place moving forward, bringing these worlds together will be very interesting. So thank you for bringing us this knowledge to level ourselves up to your level. And you're welcome back anytime into our spaces.
Well, of course. And this is just another shout out to Alan's Tech News that he started a few months ago. I watch it almost daily. And if you haven't watched it, you might. It's fun. It's humorous. It's enthusiastic. And it's really today's news up to the minute. And it's not just AI, it's everything. It's VR, it's XR, it's EVs, it's what's going on in the beautiful chart that Julie showed at the beginning, stuff like that, looking at our planetary system in a particular way. So it's a super fun way to stay engaged with what's new.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Marty. Thank you.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Again, yes.
Okay, do we have any other last questions? It's 20 after 1, just to keep everybody on Eastern, if anybody needs to jump to a meeting or anything. But maybe we'll officially close off today, Karen? Yeah?
Yes, I think it's time. I know we could probably listen and learn from Marty for hours to come, but yes, we all have other things to do. And again, thank you so much, Marty. Really great to have you here, and thank you, Julie, for bringing her on.
So much fun.
Thanks very much, and have a great week, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Marty. Thanks again. And anybody who wishes to stick around the museum, you're welcome. Welcome to.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks very much.